Okay, y'all, I had to do it again. Okay, so so he's telling her that this beast that she's encountered with her son Seth after the fall, after they've been kicked out of the garden, and after she's given birth to Cain, and Cain has slain Abel, is she's trying to condemn the serpent, not serpent, this beast, that this beast headed man, and he's saying you can't say anything to me because it's your fault that all this has happened. And so let's go further. So Eve and Adam get kicked out of the garden, and they go, and Eve gives birth to Cain. Then she gives birth to Abel. Cain is the son of Satan, of the fallen angel that she had sex with. And Abel is the son of Adam and Eve. Well, let's read here. Life of Adam and Eve, chapter 2. And after this, Adam and Eve were with one another, and while they were sleeping, Eve said to Adam, her Lord, my Lord Adam, behold, I have seen a dream this night. The blood of my son Abel, who is my son of my the blood of my son Abel, being poured into the mouth of his brother Cain. And he went on drinking it without pity, but he begged him to leave him a little of it. Yet he did not listen to him, but gulped down the whole, nor did it stay in his stomach, but came out of his mouth. And Adam said, let us arise and go and see what has happened to them. Okay? So this is after they've been kicked out. This is after the fornication, after the learning of all the secrets, after all the lust, all of that has been done. They've been driven out. Eve gives birth to Cain. She also gives birth to Abel. She has a dream that Cain slew Abel and drank his blood, which speaks volumes, because remember, one of the signs of the fallen angels' offspring is they're giants, they're wicked, and they eat humans and they drink blood. Okay? So then we're going to go over here to the book of Jasher. Chapter 1, verse 14. And the boys grew up, and their fathers gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of the sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought a comparable offering to the Lord. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstlings of his flock and the fat thereof. And God turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from the Lord from heaven and consumed it. And to Cain and his offering the Lord did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before the Lord. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And sometime after, Cain and his brother Abel went into the field one day to do their work, and they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it severely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger and said to him, what is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Abel answered his brother Cain and said to him, what is there between me and you, that you will eat the flesh of my flock and clothe yourself with their wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep, with which you have clothed yourself, and repay me for their fruit and flesh which you have eaten. And when you will have done this, I will then go from your land as you have said. And Cain said to his brother Abel, surely if I slay you this day, who will require your blood from me? And Abel answered Cain, saying, surely God, who has made us in the earth, will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from you, should you slay me. For the Lord is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will pay back man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to his wickedness, that he may do on earth. And now, if you should slay me here, surely God knows your secret views, and will judge you for the evil which you declare to do to me this day. And when Cain heard the words of his brother Abel had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly struck his brother and slew him. And Cain spilt the blood of his brother Abel on the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed on the earth before the flock. And after this, Cain regretted having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and exceedingly vexed him. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the ground, in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And the Lord knew that what Cain had done to his brother. And the Lord appeared to Cain and said to him, Where is your brother Abel that was with you? And Cain concealed his true motives and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said to him, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother and have concealed your intentions before me, and imagined in your heart that I did not see you, nor knew all your actions. But you did this thing and slew your brother for no reason, and because he spoke rightly to you. And now therefore cursed are you from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. And wherein you buried him, it will be when you till it, it will no longer give you its strength, and in the beginning of the in it give you its strength as it was in the beginning. For the ground will produce thorns and thistles, and you will be moving and wandering the earth until the day of your death. That's that. So Eve gives birth to Cain, which is the son of Satan. It's a Satan's child. So you got Satan's child and God's child sharing the same household. Brothers and brothers. Cain being in the field, tilling it. Abel's animal goes and crosses and into Cain's field. Bothered him so much. They both needed each other. But because Cain is so self-imposed, he takes on the law of his father. Me, 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 me. Cain, whether Eve told him the story of what happened or not, Cain was envious of Abel. Cain came to the offering. He knew the offering would occur just like Abel did. Abel didn't have any advantage that Cain didn't have. Yet Abel came with a thoughtful offering. Abel gave God the first. He gave him the best of what he had. And didn't think anything of it. He gave him what he had and the best of it. Because who else would he give the best to? But Cain, on the other hand, gave him the lesser and the inferior fruit. As if the superior fruit could have gone to someone greater. Was he offering it up to his father Satan? Did he give Satan the superior fruit? And gave God the lesser fruit? So when it was time to come and offer, there would be a difference. As if God wouldn't know. This was the first offering. It didn't say that it was an offering before this. They said after a few years, they came and offered. So when God came and accepted Abel's offering, it said that fire came down from heaven. This is the second instance that I've seen fire come down in heaven from this Bible. The only other time thus far that fire came down from heaven was when Elijah had the contest with Jezebel's prophets, and God came down and took up the bullock off the altar. This Abel offering, God came down and took up Abel's offering from off the altar and did not acknowledge Cain's offering. And it angered Cain. Because it's not about God to Cain. It's about Cain. He doesn't take correction well. You know, you can correct Cain. God corrected Cain. And even his brother Abel corrected him. And this type of correction only incites anger in Cain. It makes Cain want to harm an individual. Abel didn't say anything wrong to Cain. Abel responded to Cain and Cain's commentary. And this incited Cain to so much wrath because he was right. That he wanted to get rid of him. Because Abel resembled everything that Cain wasn't. It wasn't that Cain couldn't aspire to do the things that Abel did. It was an offering. Next time you come, offer it better. It wasn't that. It couldn't have been. Because had it been just that, he would have done that. It was the godliness in Abel that Cain didn't possess. See, sometimes, friend, people will hate you for stuff that money cannot buy. People will hate you for things that come naturally to you, that you are even looking to bless them with, to make them better from. They will hate you for it. Cain hated Abel because deeply Cain hated himself. It doesn't say in the scripture that Abel was stronger than Cain and had more might than Cain and was favored by his father more than Cain or by his mother more. It didn't say none of that. I haven't seen it. It was the fact that Abel stood in his knowing of God and he honored it. How do I know that? Because he came with the first of his flock. The first. Nobody didn't say that somebody told him what to offer to God. Like the children have when, through Moses and Joshua and all the leaders, and, they tell the children this and that. It didn't say none of that. It said that Cain came with the first of his flock and the fat. He sat up and thought about it. What could I do? What would God appreciate? I'm going to do that. Whereas Cain had the same amount of time and the same wherewithal, but his mind is not meditating on God. He's the son of Satan. And that's not in a derogatory kind of connotation. He literally is a son of Satan. So there's a rift internally. He's struggling with internal issues. Whereas Abel is not. And he sees this. And he sees that Abel will stand up to him. And he sees that Abel is not afraid to correct him with the truth. And he sees that Abel is not ignorant to the truth, and that he can align his truth in a way and speak it to him intelligently to undermine all of Cain's credibility and make him see the error in his ways. And that is what he hates. That's what he hates. Because there was some love for Abel. If it wasn't after he slew him with the metal plowing instrument, he was deeply grieved. And that's what happens when you act out of emotion and you let all of these lower energies cloud your judgment. Fear, resentment, anger, hostility, jealousy, envy. All of that was that. It wasn't a loving thing where you could sit up and look at yourself and say, I shouldn't be doing all this. I'm sure there were times when Cain thought that and said, I probably shouldn't even be doing all this. But then that fear comes in. No, he thinks such and such. He thinks this way and that way about himself. And he thinks he's better than you. And this, that's fear. It's fear. So he takes this instrument that his father taught the children, a metal plowing hook. They didn't have this stuff before that. This lets me know. It goes back to the David and Goliath thing. David didn't have the technology. Goliath did. Cain, Abel. Cain had the technology. Abel just had the sheep, the animals. And he had the advantage because he struck them with the instrument that was a technological instrument at the time. You got to go back to the time they're in. It didn't say they wrestled. It said he struck them with it, and he went down. All from the original sin, which is the fallen angels impregnating the women. This is the first instance of it. First instance of that. Wasn't jealousy. Jealousy and envy. Jealousy is a thing where if you're jealous of someone, you're usually jealous over something that can be acquired, and you just feel like you don't have the wherewithal to get it. Whether you don't have the knowledge of getting it, and you feel yourself inferior of ever having it, and you're jealous because you want it and you just don't know how to get it. Jealousy comes from lack, in the sense of you not being able to acquire something yet. Envy, you can have everything in the world and be envious of someone that's sleeping on a bench. I'm telling you, envy is the worst thing, because nothing can satisfy envy. You got to come to terms with the fact that you are envious to really satisfy envy. And you don't notice envy. Envy is that person that stands off in the distance and watches you, in the distance. And that just hates to see you happy. But then when they approach you, they're smiling and they're congratulatory and all that. But you can ever catch them when nobody's looking, or they don't think you're looking. You'll see it. Envy, you can see it. You can see it. You don't even have to do nothing to nobody to make them envious of you. You could just literally be standing in your calling and in your knowing and doing the righteous thing, and people will be envious of you. You don't even have to be out here showboating and anything, and people will just hate you. I'm telling you. It's a wicked thing, envy. Because envy will inspire people to lie. It inspires people to create all kind of scenarios and fictitious things, stumbling blocks in your way. For nothing. Just selfish, envious interests. Low-level stuff. And nothing ever good came out of what Cain did to his brother Abel. It sent the whole line into a spiral. That's my Bible study today, y'all, on Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. I pray I've done it justice. I thought of it. I did my best in offering it up to you. If you have any comments, if you find it of interest, if you have anything that you feel like I should have expounded upon, or if you have any alternative realities to this message, please comment in the comment section and share them. I noticed on my last post on Noah's Ark, I had someone comment and say, you're stupid for believing in Noah's Ark and all that kind of stuff. And I could relate because, I've wrestled with the Noah's Ark ideology myself and trying to make it make sense. How could you put all these animals on a boat? But, when you get to thinking about it and you get to knowing the sciences behind what we all emanate from, and then all the variations that have emanated from that base of uh, animals or people, it begins to really make sense. Um, but if your perspectives are different than mine, I welcome them. My only response to that is that, and my only requirement is, if you want to come on and say, you're stupid for thinking that, I'm not offended at all. But if you could just let me know what your thoughts are, instead of just saying, you're stupid, give me something to research that you feel might be another way of viewing it. That's all I would, ask of you. Because I have, I'm a comments reading type of girl. And I know I'm not the only one. And we comment readers get a bad label because most of us are readers in general. You know what I mean? Like, we like to read books. So it's nothing for us to read comments. And it's nothing for us to elaborate ourselves in the comments. And it's not a bad thing. I love it. I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to communicate and express yourself. And I love circles where that is promoted and, looked upon in a good light. Because you can learn a lot from some comment sections, friends. I've read some really thought-provoking threads, on Facebook especially, that I learned a lot of information from, and I got to cross-reference my ideologies with others in real time. And I think that's an awesome thing. So please comment. I'll comment back, and but if you just want to comment and say I'm dumb because I came on with a perspective, I don't really care. But if you could, please just let me know what your alternative perspectives are that you think might be a little bit more poignant than mine. We're loved more than we are loved more than we will ever know. Stand in that, own that, because you are. Know that. Be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Peace and love.